guys. Okay, so I'm going to show you about Rudy's insulin. There's a couple things. Number one, it's a totally different insulin, so it doesn't scale with his numbers. He's going to just be on half a unit. We may change it over time, but it's not going to change daily. Unlike Big Love, it's a totally different one. It adds up over time. It's not a 12-hour insulin. So that's number one. Number two, he has totally different needles. These needles, while they appear very similar, actually, if we were to use Big Love's U40 needles, he would be getting 2.5 times the dose that he's supposed to, and that could be lethal. So you can only use the Rudy needles. They say Rudy only. Rudy has his whole kit here. U100 are his needles. It's the only kind we can ever use. They're also different. They self-lubricate. So when you're ready to give insulin, you're going to do this a few times, and that self-lubricates them. Unlike Big Love's insulin, you can't draw too much and push back in. If it goes back into the bottle, it will taint it, the whole bottle, and the whole thing's got to go. So never ever do that. What you're going to do is, his insulin looks different. It's in a plastic container. It's used to be a human, so that's why. And you're not going to do the twisty poke thing like humans do. If you just turn it upside down, now you have a bottle of insulin just like you always did. It's vacuum packed, so if you were to put a needle in it and draw your amount and let go of the needle, it's going to suck it back in, and now it's tainted. So you got to be really careful about that. I'm not going to put the needle in because I already did, and we're doing a new video. So pretend that I'm putting the needle in, right? You're going to first get it going, make sure there's no air in, push it nice and tight. Then you're going to suck it up right through there to where you want it. Now you're going to go over half a dose, I'd say, just to give about a full amount, and then you're going to push it out. So basically you're going to get a little too much in there, put that down, and then you're going to get to half a dose. These needles are different. They have half dose marks. If you look closely, that very first line does not count. That's the starting point. So you're talking about like a drop of insulin. You're going to go to the first line, which is a half dose. And if you're confused or scared, you can count. There's 10 itty bitty lines. You got your big lines on one side and your small lines on the other. So there's 10 up to the 5, and obviously there should only be 5 if it was a full dose. So you're going to go to the very first line, which is so minimal that you're hardly giving him any insulin. Can you see it in the camera good? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Pass the big line to the first itty bitty. And that's how much we're starting him on, and we'll see how that works over time. So when you draw too much, you don't want to draw a ton, but draw a little more than a dose, then take it out, thump it a few times so the air gets to the top, and then just let it come out. You let it come out naturally, or you can put it onto a cloth. You want to be really careful you don't do a fur dose, the kind where you don't know if you got it in. You got to get this needle in good, give it a good push right into his skin, and then do it, because you can't double dose him. It's an intense insulin, so if you don't know if you got it, if you see wet on his fur, you just have to skip it. He'll live with a skipped dose, but you can never assume that you need to redo it. So make sure when you poke it into his skin that you got it good and tight. He's so easy to handle that it shouldn't be any issue. And then plunge. Like I said, you can never put any insulin back into the bottle, so you're going to pull too much. You're going to go to this thing, you can thump it a few times, get the air to the top, and then just let it come out on the cloth. It's so minimal, and be really careful. If you accidentally push it too hard and you get rid of the dose, throw away the needle, start over, because you can't, the lubrication is going to ruin the actual insulin. Is there anything I missed? Okay, I think that's it. We are going to do blood tests occasionally on him, so I'll make a separate video of how to blood test him. Like always, has to eat first. Make sure he eats a few bites. If he had plenty of food overnight and he's not eating, you'll have to syringe feed him half a jar of baby food, but I don't think you'll have a problem. He's been great. Okay, thanks.